Hello everyone. Welcome to the Site24x7 webinar series. I'm Devapriya and I'll be hosting and presenting this webinar along with Ajay, our technical expert. The topic for today's webinar is how to maximize your Python application performance with Site24x7's APM Insight. Start with the agenda for this webinar. Firstly, a brief introduction about Site 24/7. Followed by that, you'll get introduced to Site 24/7's APM tool called APM Insight. Next, prevalence and importance of Python code in application design and how to monitor its performance. Followed by that, we'll also see how Site24/7 helps monitor Python app performance with its agent-based APM Insight. Finally, a quick demo to show you on how our APM Insight tool captures various performance metrics of a Python application. Site 24/7. Zoho's IT management arm, Manage Engine, began developing Site 24/7 about 15 years ago as a monitoring solution that could cater to the needs of a rapidly emerging cloud centric IT environment. Now, Site 24/7 has evolved into an AI ops powered digital experience monitoring, ITOM, and observability solution for companies of all sizes. It is also a full stack solution that provides advanced monitoring capabilities like website monitoring, server monitoring, cloud monitoring, network monitoring, and much more. So, all in addition to application performance monitoring. Next comes what is Site24/7's APM Insight? Site24/7's APM Insight is a developer's handy tool which we have designed to monitor and optimize the performance of web applications as well as web services. It also provides insights into the performance of various components of an application stack, and that includes servers, databases, APIs, and third party integrations. Site24/7's APM offers features that help in identifying and resolving performance bottlenecks, and that will improve your end user experience to ensure the smooth operation of critical applications. You can use our APM Insight on a bunch of different platforms, including Java, .NET, PHP, Ruby, Node.js, and Python. You can also integrate our APM Insight with hundreds of cloud services, tools, and open standards. And that includes AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud. Prevalence and importance of Python code. Python has become a big hit as a programming language for designing applications. People love it because it's so easy to understand and also flexible at the same time. You'll find Python being used in all sorts of fields like web development, science, crunching data, machine learning, and even automation. Python's popularity in application design can be chalked up as follows. Easy to learn syntax. Yes, Python has got this simple and straightforward syntax that's great for beginners and lets you whip up code real quick. It's like a beginner's best friend, making development a breeze. Next, with its large standard library and third party packages, Python offers a vast standard library and a rich ecosystem of third party packages, and that will provide developers with a wide range of tools and functionality to build applications efficiently. Next, Python is cross platform compatible and hence it is available on multiple platforms, including Windows and various Linux distributions. And this again allow developers to create applications that can run seamlessly on different operating systems. Next, with its integration capabilities, Python can easily integrate with other programming languages, making it suitable for building complex applications that require interaction with different systems or technologies. Finally, with its extensibility and modularity, Python supports modular programming and enables code reusability. allowing developers to create scalable applications with ease. Now, let's see how Site24x7 helps monitor Python app performance with its agent based APM Insight. When it comes to monitoring the performance of your Python application, Site24x7 is the go to platform with all the monitoring features you need. All you need to do is download and install the Python agent on your app server. Then link it to your application. That's it. Data collection happens every minute. We are getting to the exciting part of the webinar. We'll see a live demo of how Site24x7's APM Insight monitors the performance of the application by tracking the key metrics. This is our Site24x7 web client. Here you can see the list of available monitors. We already have a Python agent installed and its monitor has been created in the console. Let's start discussing the various metrics that our APM agent captures. To view the metrics, you need to log into your Site24x7 web client, navigate to APM, click on Applications. You'll be able to see all the monitors in the console. Click on the required monitor to view the performance metrics. So this is our Python monitor, Python Flask app. I'm clicking on it. Firstly, Overview tab. So before getting into the metrics, first you need to select the time frame that you need. I'm selecting last 7 days till yesterday. So whatever the metrics that you see here is for last 7 days. Aptic score. Aptic score is nothing but a score that gives the user satisfaction with the application's performance, with 1 being the highest value and 0 being the lowest value. If your Aptic score is greater than 0.9, it means the application's performance is satisfying. And if the Aptic score is between 0.5 and 0.9, it means the performance of your application is tolerating. And if the Aptic score is lesser than 0.5, it means the performance is frustrating. So now let's see here. So the score that we see here is 0.801, which means the performance of the application is kind of satisfying or even tolerating. This is how you can measure the overall performance of the application with just one metric. Next, average response time. It gives the average response time of your application, which is nothing but the average of all the transactions response time made in the application. And request throughput gives the number of requests received per minute. And request count gives the total number of requests came in the selected time frame. And errors percentage gives the percentage of errors that occurred. So out of 147.95k requests, we got 12% of errors. Average CPU time gives the average amount of time taken by the CPU to respond. And exception gives the total number of fatal exceptions and warnings that occurred. You can scroll down to see the graphical representation of all the above metrics. Let's see an important graph here. App server response time broken by components. I hope you know that your application is connected to various components, and the slowness of the application can also be caused by any of these components if they are not functional or if they are taking too long time to respond to your application. So if you find any sudden spike in this graph, you can hover over it to understand which component takes more time to respond. It is also color coded for easy understanding. So I'm just hovering over it. Okay, so here we can see that next to others we have HTTP, which is taking more time to respond. So that is the component which is slowing down our application. Again, scroll down to see the list of top 5 transactions by average response time, top 5 slow traces, reason 5 exceptions, and reason 5 error transactions. Moving on to the next tab, transactions. Here you can see the list of all the transactions in the application. Again, you can see the AppDeck score for each transaction, and count means the number of times a particular transaction has been called by the user. And errors percentage shows the percentage of errors that occur in a particular transaction. And you can also see the average response time of each transaction, and average CPU time gives the average amount of time taken by the CPU to respond to a particular transaction. And finally, fatal gives the number of fatal errors that have occurred in a particular transaction. You can also filter the transactions based on background transactions or error transactions. To do so, just click on the required tab that you need. Here you can see the list of transactions with errors. If you want to track the performance of any of the transactions separately, you can mark it as a key transaction, which will be displayed under the Key Transactions tab. Currently, we don't have any key transactions available. You see here, I can see that my SQL transaction is taking more average response time to respond to the application. So I'm just marking it as a key transaction. Save. Okay, successfully added. So you can see this transaction under APM key transactions. Go back to your application, select the time frame and go to transactions tab and key tab. Now it has been added to the key transactions list. Next, database tab. This section provides a complete description of the total number of SQL queries that are executed for the application. You can also find the key metrics for all the DB operations here. Next, traces tab. Before getting into it, do you know what is a trace? Well, when a transaction exceeds a certain threshold value, it is captured as a trace. In the Traces tab, you can see the list of all the traces in the application. You can also narrow down the list to find a required trace. If you want to filter the traces based on their response time or any other metric, just click on this drop down and select the metric that you need. So I need the traces list to know the traces having exception count more than 2. So I'm giving 2 here. Okay, so we got the list now. This is how you can filter the traces. We also have the advanced filter option, which has built-in and conditions, which allows you to specify an unlimited number of search conditions. Let's try this. I'm adding HTTP method filter. I need HTTP method get and exception class SSL error. Okay, so we got the trace matching these conditions. Now you can click on this trace to drill down further to understand the slowest method calls and their count. You can also go to the trace details tab. This allows you to dig deeper into all the entities involved in the trace to identify the anomalous spans causing latency. So here you can see the list of spans within the trace. You can also find the timeline bar that shows the time taken by each span to complete. This is how you can analyze the traces. And next, exceptions tab. The exceptions tab gives you a summary of all the exceptions that have occurred with a count of how many times they have taken place. You can also see the list of top exceptions, top error codes, reason 5 exception traces, and reason 5 error transactions. Next comes Service Map tab. This tab provides a clear topology of your application architecture along with the components that are connected to it. So it will be easy for you to identify the problematic elements all at a glance. In the map view, you can see the graphical representation of the architecture, and this is your application node, and these are the nodes that represent your components. You can also see the status of the application or the component based on the node color. Green indicates that your application or component is up, and red indicates that your application or component is down. You can also hover over the node to see the key metrics of the application or the component, like this. Likewise, in the graph view, you can see the graphical representation of the metrics, and in the tabular view, you can see the metrics in a table format. Moving on to the next tab, RAM Analytics. You can integrate your RAM monitor with your APM monitor to get these metrics in the same dashboard. So here you can see the response time by ISP, response time by browser, and response time by device. Yes, you can see all the real-time metrics in this tab. Maybe in one of our webinars, we'll dive deep into the RAM topic. Next, milestones. This is one cool feature that we have in APM Insight. So this tab allows you to create milestones of various events like build deployment or product updates or feature enhancements or even infrastructure upgrades. With this, you can compare the performance metrics of the application before and after a milestone. So we have one milestone created already. If you want to create a milestone, all you need to do is go to this hamburger icon, click on Mark Milestone. Select any date that you need and give a name for your milestone. Click Save. Okay, so it is added to the milestones list. And if you want to compare the before and after metrics for any of these milestones, you need to select the milestone view from the date view drop down and select the milestone that you want and click Apply. Now you can see the difference in application performance metrics to understand the behavior of your application before and after the milestone. So this is just to ensure whether your application is performing well after a bug fix or a feature enhancement. Going back to date view and moving on to the next tab, server metrics. To get server metrics in this tab, all you need to have is a Site24x7 server monitor. So once you create a server monitor, that monitor and the APM monitor will be automatically mapped and the metrics will be shown here. Next, outages tab. This gives an overall summary on the down, trouble, critical history of your application. And instance split up tab. Firstly, let's see what is an instance. An instance represents a single occurrence of your application running on a server or a virtual machine or a container. For example, if you have deployed your application on multiple servers to handle an increased traffic, each of these deployments would be considered as a separate instance. And inside 24/7's APM Insight, you can monitor the performance metrics of each instance individually, helping you identify potential bottlenecks or issues in a specific deployment. So in this tab, you can see a comprehensive list of all the instances in your application, along with the metrics associated with them. Next, data collection stats. The data collection stats tab gives a detailed data report of the application for the chosen time period, and the data report will be available for the last 30 days. Okay, I think we have covered all the metrics. Going back to the presentation, Let's check whether we have covered all the tabs. Yes. Before wrapping up, I want you to know that Site24x7 supports 13,000 customers worldwide and monitors billions of metrics. It is also secure, powerful, agile, and scalable. Site24x7 offers mobile and desktop support and supports monitoring from global locations. It also offers a 30-day free trial, so you can just check it out and sign up later. And one more thing is, we also provide separate pricing plans for MSP customers. Security and compliance. Site 24/7 complies with all the major security standards as it undergoes an industry standard audit every year, where an evaluation of the design and operative effectiveness is diligently done. So don't worry, your application is safe and secured with us. Find the contact details here. You can also find these details on our website. We have come to the end of our session. Please feel free to ask questions. I have my friend Ajay here to answer all your questions. Over to you, Ajay. Okay, I think we didn't get any questions. Thank you for being here today. Hope you found this webinar to be educational and interesting. Please visit our webinar page to get the list of upcoming webinars. We look forward to seeing you in our other sessions as well. Thank you for joining.